a guess at Carol Baskin's on as a guest.
And we are back. Obviously talking about the Tiger King and Carol Baskin. What's up, Nick? What's up, Garrett? How we doing tonight?
Dude, I'm doing good. We pushed back the Dynasty Nerds podcast, so I went straight from both of those episodes. We did both those, and literally I had like 10 minutes, took a quick dump, back here, good to go, and I feel a little more relieved, a little more loose now, so I think we're good.
Good.
Listen, you're not the only special one here on a podcast tonight, okay?
True.
I was on Harris Football Podcast. Chris Harris, he's a good guy. I just retweeted it if people are interested. Talking running backs, so I kind of revealed some of my rankings and how I feel, so people are interested in that one. Obviously, listen to the Dynasty Nerds too, but I gave this one a shout out because I think we've been doing some good work here. We got the DJ Dallas last week, but this week we're going to take back over. J-Wax going to talk a lot more, right?
We'll see. I did just drink some pre-workout, so I'm feeling a little hyphy. I just say hyphy.
I see Rich already in here talking. Rich, you're just lucky I didn't take you in the disrespect draft, man. I thought about it.
I honestly almost took you a Rich just to talk, just so I could talk all season.
That's what I wanted, but someone took Izzy. They just ruined it for me. If people are wondering, so we're all in a league together. So Dynasty Trade Calculator.
Well, most of us. Jared decided not to jump in.
Dude, I've joined like 4 leagues last 2 weeks. I just can't.
But so the company I used to work for, DTC, and the podcast, I met them all in real life. I was at JP's surprise 40th birthday party. And then Dynasty Nerds, we have a league together. And so part of this league, we stopped midway through the draft and we decided to have a disrespect draft, which means you pick the team that you get their first round pick next year. So who you think is going to do the worst? So there's going to be a lot of trash talking, and that's what Rich is kind of getting on over there. I just had too much respect for Rich. That's why I didn't want to do it. No, I'm kidding. I just took the team I thought was going to do the worst.
Rich is real emotional. So if someone would have taken Rich, he would have gotten all hot and bothered.
Right. I was going to take Izzy.
No one's taking my team yet either. I'm just saying.
I thought about it, Garrett, just to talk trash.
Talk trash, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I'm still out there. So whoever wants me, they're gonna get the heater. Number 1 coming down the pipe.
All right, so we got Bryan Edwards and Laviska Shenault tonight, 2 of the bigger-bodied wide receivers in this draft class, and 2 guys that unfortunately weren't able to perform at the combine this year. So Bryan Edwards had a broken foot. Shenault had a pubic bone issue that required surgery. Yeah, I mean, do you guys have any initial thoughts on these guys going into it?
You start, Nick.
I just think that they're both very unique talents in that they're not going to be, dynamic in terms of speed, but Viska just played so many different positions, and you have to judge him in a different way. And then Edwards has been there for 4 years, and what's been disappointing with him is that he flashed so early as a 17-year-old, and then never took the next step, because Debo was there, but Debo got hurt a lot. There was always opportunity, and I know people talk about market share, and I don't believe any of that kind of stuff. Okay, but he just didn't step up and have that. He didn't have that great season.
Said screw you, analytics.
Well, I mean, I watch what I see, and he just never did enough for me. He made a couple splash plays, and we'll probably see some of those, but I just always expected more from him, and I didn't really see it. How about you, Garrett?
I like Edwards quite a bit. It was disappointing that he wasn't able to do anything at the combine. So we weren't able to see how some of all of this would stack up. He also originally was going to be at the Senior Bowl. That would have been exciting. So all that was disappointing. But overall, I really do like his game. When you see what he accomplished over the course of his career, I think it's really, really impressive. You mentioned the breakout age. I do. I wouldn't consider myself an analytics guy. I'm much more of a tape guy, but I do think there's some validity to some of that. And so to see him to be able to dominate, not just as a freshman, but as a 17-year-old freshman, I didn't even by the time I graduated, I was like one of the oldest kids in class. So I was like an old 18-year-old graduating high school. So I was already 19. Yeah. Well, basically I was an idiot. So
can I ask you guys?
Can I
ask you a question though? So both
Yeah.
you and Jared. So I'm just curious how you guys feel. So they're both injured, so didn't participate in the combine. But like you said, they chose not to participate in the Senior Bowl, at least Edwards. How do you feel? Like, do you downgrade players if they choose not to participate in things?
I'm wondering. Overall, I would say no, because people were asking that about T. Higgins and J.K. Dobbins this year, and I still like both of those guys. It's enough to raise an eyebrow, like, what's going on? Why are you not testing, or why are you not participating in stuff that you could freely do? So it's enough for me to raise an eyebrow, but I'm not going to move anyone up or down my ranks just based on actually participating. So overall, I'd say no, but it's something that I keep in the back of my mind as like a tiebreaker or something.
How about you, J-Wack?
I look at it more like a business decision at this point. We don't know what their agents are telling them to do. Everybody's got a different game plan. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to hide something. That's always like the question. So I watch the tape. What the tape tells me, I go with. So I don't really put too much weight into that kind of stuff.
So let me bring up another guy. You didn't talk about Garrett. One guy that comes to my mind where I'm like, man, is there really something there? Because I see a little smoke. Is Tyler Johnson?
Yeah.
Right. He skipped both things.
Yeah, or he wasn't even
And it's like,
invited
what are you hiding
to the Senior
at
Bowl.
this point?
Yeah, he's a tougher one, because with Edwards and Viska, and we also talked about T. Higgins and J.K. Dobbins. All of those guys, overall, I think the general consensus most people are fairly high on. Tyler Johnson, people are pretty down on him right now. So for people to already be down on him and then him not want to prove, it is a little concerning, and I don't know. It feels a little conspiracy theorist, but it might not be far off.
Oh man, conspiracy theories on the film nerds. Let's do it.
I love a good conspiracy theory. I heard one a while back about I'm not gonna get into it. All right. This is not the show. This is not conspiracy theory show, but we might have a special episode of that.
Let's get
So
into this.
before we get started here, I see Fresh Baller says, I think Laviska's just going to be another Cordell Patterson. The NFL won't have much fantasy value at all. I have to say this, okay? He's not Cordell Patterson. If you guys remember Cordell Patterson coming out of Tennessee, they're very different prospects. So if you want to say maybe he won't have as much fantasy value at all, that's fine. But he's different for me than Cordell Patterson. Patterson was special with the football in his hands. Viska's good. He's just not special.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, we talked a lot about Edwards. Do you have any initial thoughts on Viska?
Me?
Yeah.
I think he's very physical. But I think that's why he gets hurt a little bit too. I think he has like high highs and low lows, and I want to see a little more consistency out of his game is probably my biggest concern at this point.
Yeah, I think we'll end up agreeing a lot on Viska. We'll see about Edwards, but I think we're going to agree a lot on Viska.
All right, let's get into this. We'll start off with the Alabama tape. We're going with two solid matchups. We're going with Alabama first, and then we have Georgia coming up next.
So 7 is Diggs to start off with, which is a guy that'll probably be a first or second round pick in the NFL draft this year.
Stephon Diggs' brother.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be cool if he had to guard him?
I hope he does.
That'd be sweet.
I hope he gets drafted by New England or something.
All right. So they got jet sweep here.
Off the cuff. Yeah, off the cuff. It's a little choppy right now on my end. It could just be my internet. But I love the physicality that he shows here, because he made contact at the 20, and he ended up getting nearly to the 30 by the time that this run was over. Now, I don't expect him to be on a lot of jet sweeps and things like that at the NFL level, but I love to see the physicality that he has. I would argue that he is one of the strongest wide receivers in this class.
Dude, he just threw number 2 to the ground. Mm-hmm. Watch number 2 here. He's just fucking throws him to the ground.
Well, let's just talk about this part of it too. I mean, he's a big boy, right? I mean, I don't know what his listed combine was, 6'3".
Yeah, he's like 6'3", 225.
Yeah. I mean, think about being 6'3", 225, and your college team trusts in getting you a jet sweep, and right here, a wide receiver screen.
Right.
That's not a lot. A lot of big guys don't get that, so that kind of speaks to his versatility too.
Both the guys tonight, they use him like that. Interesting stat with Edwards is he appeared in 48 games in his career, and he had a catch in every single one of them.
So like right here on that, if you go back to that route, J-Wack.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to the start of this, so he attacks the corners outside before he comes inside. Even if he doesn't get movement on that outside movement, he at least freezes him to beat him on the inside and to get that slant. So he doesn't convert and get 5 yards, but the route I think was pretty solid there.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Quarterback didn't lead him enough, I don't think, really.
Yeah.
Is this Helinski at this point, or is this still?
This is actually one of Helinski's better games as a true freshman.
Yeah.
I like this tight end here, too. He got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Physical receiver, man.
Yeah, look at that. After contact,
Yeah.
catches, secures, and then spins out of that to get the first down.
And I think the biggest thing that I think is lacking with Edwards' game overall is he doesn't have the long speed that some of these other guys have. And you kind of expect that out of a bigger, more physical wide receiver, 225 pounds. You don't expect him to run a 4.4 flat. But I think he's a good enough route runner to be able to get decent separation. And he's very physical, like we talked about earlier. And so being able to box out guys, being able to go up and get the ball, he's able to do that. And I think he's going to win more as a contested catch guy than anything else at the next level.
No, I don't disagree. I think he has really good, for a big guy, I think he has some technical traits, which is rare.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he doesn't have the explosiveness, and that's kind of always been the case year in and year out with him.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to like compare him, he's kind of like a poor man's Higgins to me. A little more physical, not as good of an athlete, but just a poor version of that. So, I mean, it's really going to be scheme dependent because is he going to get enough targets to be fantasy relevant or not?
Sure. And that is the tough part is the NFL overall is going away from more of his style of receiver. So as even though I like him personally a lot, we'll have to see what the NFL thinks of him.
That's two for a tight end. That's two really good cuts.
Yeah, he got hurt last year.
He's an athlete.
He's a little sleeper for me in that league, Garrett.
Man, watching this, J-Wack, you're ruining yourself, man.
I don't care. I'm not worried about him.
All right. So running out of the outside slot position.
Yeah, let me run that back
I wish
here.
I could see the whole route develop.
I mean, right there. I mean, he got small to avoid that reroute. I think he kind of settled into that zone a little bit there before the safety could
Here
get
we
to
go.
him.
There's a good
Here,
look.
we'll see it. Yep.
Oh, there we go.
Yep. Settle down a little bit.
Yeah, quarterback good job of throwing him open too. Like, sat him down. I'd like to see him maybe. I don't know. He's not on his breaks. I notice he's not as like quick out of him or crisp out of him as I'd like to see. But
nope. But that's what happens with a tall receiver, right? I mean, their hips are high. It's tough for them to kind of get going again once they stop their feet.
I think that was a great move off the line there, using his hands. He's good off the line of scrimmage.
Very good off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I think he's better before he gets the ball in his hands versus after.
Yeah. He
I don't disagree
completely
with that.
turns the corner back around here, gets his hands off, swipes him. It gives him it's wide open if he throws it now.
Yep, and that was 3rd and 5.
Shy Smith comes down with it though.
Oh, wow. Whatever. I would have went for the first down. Instead of the double
Who wants
coverage.
touchdowns?
Instead of the double coverage touchdown.
No, I agree.
I mean,
I agree.
give me that first down.
Jim Belfie says, what NFL team is taking Edwards in the draft?
I don't know. I love this play here. I specifically remember this one. So look at this, selling it, looking to the inside, and then being able to rip through to create separation. He doesn't end up making the play. And you kind of see the long speed on display there. But that's Diggs there. That's, one of the top corners in this draft class. And he got him to bite on that route thinking he was going to go to the outside. And then he used his physicality to be able to rip through and make a play. Could have made a play. Slightly overthrown, and he needs to unhook the trailer. But
yeah,
well, I don't know. And again, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, Garrett. I don't know that he's breaking to the corner more than he's leaning into him.
Sure,
physicality. So right here, leans.
Yeah, that could be true.
Someone said
either way, it's a good route. He won.
What's a good Bryan Edwards comp? Anquan Bolden. That's what they asked Anquan Bolden.
No.
I saw.
What NFL team would he be a good fit for? We didn't answer.
Oh
that
yeah,
one.
I brushed that off too quick. Sorry. I just love that route.
I know. You're like, I don't know. I like this play.
Bad question. Next question. Who's he? Belichick over here?
I know. I'm such a jerk. I feel terrible.
We're on to Pittsburgh. Let's talk about the Jets game. We're on to Pittsburgh. Next game.
For a comp,
I think he's going to be a better NFL player than a fantasy asset. So I think he'll be a team's second or third receiver. He'll be the big guy. I think that I think he'll be someone that gets between 600 to 800 yards about every year. He'll be solid. He just won't be spectacular.
Ooh, look at that catch. A comp that I saw online that I liked is James Jones. I thought that was a good comp for him.
That's because of the number.
I didn't even think about that, actually.
That happens a lot, number-wise. People will comp people.
One guy I kind of liked him too. Was kind of a Mohamed Sanu type guy. I think he could settle into that type of role. And I know that's, people that like his ceiling don't want to hear Mohamed Sanu, but I think that's kind of what we're looking at the next level.
Sanu wasn't terrible though. Like,
no, and that's the thing. I think
he was in
that
a good
sounds
offense,
worse than it is.
Yeah.
Like I actually think Sanu was a good wide receiver. He looked good in Cincinnati. He looked good in Atlanta.
This is a great catch here though, guys. I'm pretty sure, like, did he call it?
I think he got
out
his
of
1
bounds.
foot in.
But part of the issue with that one though is that that's a tight window throw because of it's his fault. He didn't leave the quarterback much room on the outside.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he let him push the sideline.
For a big
good
guy,
point,
he should be leaning in.
That's a tough
How
catch.
about like a Bryan Quick when he's with the Rams?
I knew it. I was waiting for the Rams receiver comp. Oh, snap.
Jeez.
I don't mind Sanu, actually. Sanu's a little smaller. And
A little bit.
more
I think he was
athletic.
6'2",
Yep.
and
So
a
quicker.
little more slight frame.
Nice catch here. I mean, that's
But
a pretty good
Sanu,
out
he's
route
never
there.
going to be outstanding. He might be a wide receiver 3 in fantasy a couple of years, but that's about it.
I think I'm a little bit higher on him. I could see him being, his peak being like a mid wide receiver 2 to low end wide receiver 2, but most of his career being,
I love this play.
a mid wide receiver 3. And once again, the physicality against Bama too. Get some
Hawk mode.
What's with all the ball switching here?
Yeah, that's
What?
It doesn't go from right to left to right again?
Yeah, he's figuring it out. He made a play.
I'm just trying to be negative.
It's
You're
all
doing a
right.
good job.
Yeah. Just relax. Let's
Okay, we're left, we're right.
man. He's a dog.
Yep.
Dog.
J-Wack, where we've talked about where we have him. Where do you have him?
I don't know. I should have looked before this. I think I have him at like beginning of the second round. I'm pretty high on him compared to a lot of people. I think I have him like wide receiver 6 or 7.
I have him at 7 right now as well. So
Okay.
7.
yep, I like him a lot. There's
I'm
not a
all
lot
the way
of
through
obvious
receivers
holes.
yet. Receivers are my last. Well, he's not explosive. That's his biggest hole.
But what else? Like one thing is not a.
Yeah, I think he's just a solid guy you can rely on. He's consistent, big, physical receiver, and I think he creates enough separation at the line of scrimmage that he'll be able to get open.
Yeah,
So
one of the
far from
guys
what
over
we see.
here, Silver Sports had Eddie Kennison. Man, these Rams receivers just coming through. How about Kenny Britt when he was with the Rams?
That's who I thought you were gonna go with was Kenny Britt.
I'm trying to get new guys for you.
Bryan Quick.
How about Bryan Quick? Remember him? Small school.
Yeah. I thought he was going to be good. Nice play here to get the first down on third down. Good catch.
See right there
traffic.
again. Attacked outside half in frame of the DB. Boom.
Good release.
Well,
I'd like to see it be a little quicker.
And he does a good job of shielding the ball from the defender. I saw that on quite a bit of his tape where he did a great job of putting his body between the defender and the football.
See, this
He
is
has just great feet off the line.
this is a great release here again. Same release as we saw earlier. Gets the hands off, gets inside, then drops his hips.
He's dissing her like she's Carol Baskin. You know what I mean?
Is there anybody that doesn't think she killed her husband? Like I haven't heard one person that's like, "Oh yeah, she's innocent."
Yeah.
It's how about that volunteer program too? You
Oh
know,
my
like
God.
after
Dude.
5 years, you get to be this. Like, really,
Dude,
like,
all
people
of
work
those
for free?
people like brainwash people. That's
Yeah.
what I if you have tigers, you can brainwash people. That's what I learned.
Dude, that was messed up, man. That was a crazy show.
The best tweet or meme that I saw was a girl saying, "I just now realized that I paid more for my dog than I could for a tiger."
All right. So on this, once again, going with this physicality, and this is the type of thing that will get you on the field, is some decent downfield blocking, and he's willing to do that often. Now, that doesn't show up in the box score, but it gets you on the field, which gives you opportunities to get in the box score. So, liking it, it's not quite as significant as pass protection for a running back, but being able to block downfield will go a long way with your coaches.
He's good with his hands. That's what I'm noticing on the line of scrimmage. It's good hand fighting technique.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie
What if you
Goodman
went,
said,
like-
"What's up, Garrett?"
Eddie's my dude. He's got a podcast that he started up, and I got a chance to hop on it. Eddie, put it in there. What's it called again? It's like something city, because he's from Seattle area. I don't remember what it is. Put it in the chat so that I can shout it out.
Don't look at what Eric just put in the chat. He's disagreeing with you, Garrett.
She is innocent.
Oh, there's no way.
There's no way she's innocent.
There's
dude.
no way.
You know,
The
I know this
evidence.
isn't the type of receiver, but Bill Belichick always likes players that do the right thing and they're technically sound. Now with Brady gone, and it maybe has to be a bigger armed quarterback in there, would he be a good fit in New England?
Well, is he that much different than N'Keal Harry?
Well, I don't like N'Keal Harry at all. So
Okay.
even though I just
That's-
took him in our
all
league,
right.
by the way, and I put him on the trade block immediately.
I think they're kind of the similar player, though.
Did you really?
I mean, they need
Yeah,
wide
I think
receiver
they have
help.
I think he's a better wide receiver. Yeah, but I think they're both that like contested catch guy. Neither one are necessarily there. So I think they play similar. So I do think that would be a great fit. Just, they already got that guy
I
basically.
think Edwards creates more separation than N'Keal Harry did.
Someone on Periscope just said, "How do you compare him to Debo Samuel?" They're very different players. Debo is physical, but Debo is quick and dynamic. Edwards doesn't have that athletic ability, and I think Debo's also more aggressive after the reception than Edwards.
That's what I was gonna say. It's more that after the catch, he's gonna get a lot more yards, whereas Bryan Edwards is not typically gonna get a lot after the catch. You'll see some here and there, but for the most part, I think he's gonna be more in your possession role, whereas Debo's gonna get a lot of yak.
In Bama and Georgia, you're just going right after it, huh?
Yep. We're getting it in.
I was kind of hoping you show that Tennessee catch.
Oh, the end zone.
Well, you know what?
Yeah. You might have to just show that at the end of the stream.
When I
just
gotta-
it's legitimately one of the best catches I've ever seen.
Not bad here. Getting up.
Hey, thanks, Martin. Appreciate it. This really enjoys our film sessions. Keep up the amazing work.
Thanks, Martin. Appreciate it. Hope everybody's staying safe. Everybody's healthy. I know it's weird times right now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just to that, I know that's not really what we're here for, but staying inside is going to get boring after a while. It feels like we're not doing anything, but that means that it's working. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm just going to stay consistent with it. Because
There's
I just
some
got
miscommunication on that play.
Carlos, we actually just went over his comps. I kind of said James Jones. Nick said Brian Quick. And Garrett.
Of course.
Who did you say, Garrett?
Mohamed Sanu.
Mohamed Sanu.
Brian Quick's not bad, actually, for being honest.
He isn't bad. No.
No.
I
He
didn't think it was a bad
he didn't
comp.
pan out like he hoped.
He's not Don Beebe, okay? That's pretty good for a big guy to get down to the turf like
Yeah,
that.
hopefully they show it again.
Hey, I'll do a humble brag here real quick, okay, boys?
All right.
Ooh,
I
double
coached-
move.
I coached on that field. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is cool.
Oh, that is super cool, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right.
Matt
This
Stafford's
was
first
the
game.
big highlight from the game.
Yep. So can we go back to the start there? Yeah. Oh, they're gonna.
Let's
show
watch
it.
the replay.
Yeah, because you kind of lose him on the original one.
So he did a good job of turning his head
Oh, I was looking at the outside guy.
to help sell it. Yeah, he lined up in the slot here. Shows his
Oh,
head.
no mouthpiece. Come on.
Good job of
He's not a
tracking it.
Belichick guy now.
Not worried about the safety coming over at all. Judy would have short armed that one.
That's another thing. I did not see hardly any drops out of Bryan Edwards in all of. I've watched about 5 or 6 games of his, and he seemed to have pretty sure hands. There was one game where he had like back-to-back plays where I was like, why'd you drop that?
I think he has a lot of
other
potential.
than that, yeah. But
I
overall,
think he's a very confident player.
He's just reliable.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I don't know if his
that's
numbers were just a
insinuates.
product of South Carolina just not being good, you know, and their quarterback play being a little iffy. Because, I mean, what I'm seeing here is I like him. He's a good receiver. You don't like him, Nick. I can tell.
That's not that I don't like him. I just don't know that he's special enough for me to get hyped about him, you know?
Yeah.
you
If you're
probably
good-
wouldn't take him in the second round of rookie drafts, assuming like a neutral landing spot.
It's going to depend for me on how drafts fall. I don't have overall rankings done yet
Okay.
for receivers, so it's not that I don't like him. I just don't love him.
You're not
You know what I mean?
excited about
There's
it.
a nice run here by Dowdle. I know we're not watching him, but he's a guy that I like late in rookie drafts. He didn't really produce much. As he falls down.
This kicker hasn't missed a
That's
kick
always how it
in
seems to work
4
out.
games. Missed the kick.
Misses the kick.
Yeah.
There, he's open there on that post. Beat him inside. Oh, man.
Yeah, and he traditionally lines up as an X, but you can see he lines up all over the
Well,
field.
look at that crack block. Go back. He's not afraid. Go back. There you go, right here. Watch him come out and get the safety.
Yeah.
That's a 2-for-1 right there. Because it's man. You see the corner came in on him there? Call it 1 2-for-1.
We had a rule. As outside linebackers, or sorry, the corners had a rule that if they didn't yell out the crack coming, that whether it was the outside backer, the safety, whoever it was allowed a free shot at him in practice the next day because they didn't yell out the crack.
Wow. I like that rule, actually. You guys get lit up. Lit up.
Ear hold, man.
Rich said, Garrett, draft a bad player in the startup.
That's
Clearly
all
I
he's been
haven't-
doing. Rich, that's all. Garrett's
Clearly, I've
doing.
been drafting great players because I freaking got 11. What were you guys doing letting me get Nuke at 211?
What?
Yeah.
Got Nuke
Yeah.
at 211.
Why do you think my team hasn't been picked yet?
That's crazy.
Oh, that's right. He got banged up this game, didn't he?
Who, Edwards?
Didn't he get banged up this game?
It looks like an ankle.
I'm not sure, honestly. I think that might have been Helinski that just got rolled up on.
Oh, maybe.
Or is that Jake? That's
Yeah,
Helinski, yeah.
But I thought one of these games he gets banged up at some point.
Oh, yeah. New quarterback. And they check down. What do you know? He doesn't have his mouthpiece in again. I'm already downgrading him 2 times without the mouthpiece in.
Check
Doesn't
down
care
is
about
the...
doesn't care about his dental work.
All right, guys. I'm picking
Not a
now
lot
in our
here to
draft,
break down
so
at
I
the
can't
moment.
get yelled at. So Nick and Jared take over because apparently this league's more important than our stream.
All right. Well, real quick, if you want to pause it, J-Wack, I got a trade over here we can ask for your opinion on.
Okay, what's up?
So you pause it quick. So we have Lucas says, I got offered Kamara and the 202 for David Montgomery, the 105, and his super flex half PPR. This is just a steal, isn't it? Yes, no brainer. I would do that.
Yes.
Like I would hurt myself
Yeah.
clicking the accept button, like break a finger quickly doing that. It doesn't matter what your team is. It doesn't matter what else there is. You're taking
I feel like the fact you're getting the 202 with that is...
right. Because I'm very anti David Montgomery. If you don't know that, then you don't follow me on Twitter.
Yeah.
So basically, this is 105 versus Kamara, and I take Kamara.
All right, here we go. I'm back. I just
Who'd
took
you
Irv
pick?
Smith Jr.
Irv Smith Jr. Dude, would you stop taking tight ends? I don't have one yet.
Yeah, bro, you need to get on that. That was
You
half
know
of
what
my
I'm going to do?
motivation
I'm
just
just take
now.
nobody. I'm going to start like Jimmy Graham and just say, screw you guys.
All right, here we
Michael,
go.
appreciate the kind words,
Line up on
man.
the left.
Just doing what
Yeah,
we love.
I like
Oh,
Michael.
Mike's my dude.
Yeah, I follow him. Michael's got the blue check mark, doesn't he?
He's official. I even asked him one day. I was like, "Bro, how'd you get that?" He was like, "Dude, I don't know." He was like, "As soon as I did all the stuff, he does some stuff in Washington, and he was like, they gave it to me right away." So yeah, he's a good dude.
Michael, hook us up, man. Hook us up with the blue check marks.
Not a great film here to break down. Just a lot of. I mean, we got a backup quarterback going right now. Just
Yeah, there's some stuff really, but
Edwards like, throw me the ball, man.
yeah.
Lucas said he had to look at that trade 3 times. Don't you hate that when you see a trade like it's too good to be true?
I'm missing something.
You know, this is one that I really loathe. So I was at the grocery store. I was like walking in and I just get a trade offer and I look. And in the grocery store, my phone doesn't work. And it was for a team's future first. And it was like a current Devy pick. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm like, let me just think about while I'm at the grocery store. Come out of the grocery store, another team already hit accept on it. I was like,
oh man,
like a 10-minute gap to say yes to this thing. And I was like, oh, I missed it, you know?
Yeah.
That's why fantasy football should just be a full-time job, I guess. Can't do anything else.
So we got a tie ball game here, 17-17, overtime.
Oh, reverse. Here we go.
Little reverse.
I mean, he's getting going there.
It took him a while. He must got caught there. Need to bubble out. Overtime. Oh, this quarterback.
This dude's
oh,
quick,
boy.
though.
Yeah,
He got out of that.
scrambling for his life.
These corners are they are starting
Man,
off so
4th and
far
1.
inside.
4th and 1, they're going for it. Overtime. Dowdle.
Oh, your boy.
There he is.
It's blue.
Get Edwards the ball. He's your best player. What is this nonsense?
Look at him. He's like, they're not throwing me the ball. I don't know what you want me to do.
Oh, my goodness.
What? His mouthpiece wasn't in again. Do you see that, J-Mac? Look at that.
Yeah.
You
He's
know
like,
he wasn't going to get the ball. The mouthpiece wasn't in. It's
yeah.
a dead giveaway.
And that was something I
could
had
tell.
in my notes, actually, that he was kind of up and down with his effort sometimes. But, yeah, that's that with Bryan Edwards. Any closing thoughts? I'm going to let you guys kind of talk about him here. I'm going to run to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Good. Yeah, for me, he's pretty safely inside my top 10 wide receivers. I think he has a much higher floor than a lot of the other players. He doesn't have the Denzel Mims type ceiling, the T. Higgins type ceiling, and then obviously not those top tier guys. But I think there's going to be a team that likes the physicality, that likes the my ball mentality, the kind of attitude he plays with. And there's something to be said about a guy that's able to produce as early as he did. Was a leader on that team, one of the all-time. I think he's all-time leader in receptions, touchdowns, and like second in yards or something like that. He's top in 2 of them, and he's second in one of those 3. So, would I, Nick, you brought it up. Would I have liked to have at least seen one of those seasons be a real pop season where he gets over 1,000 yards? And, yes, I would have loved to have seen that. But I think as far as an end zone, an end zone threat, a guy that will be able to get the first down, be a reliable player, I think he's going to be very good for that. And I think most of his career, he'll be a really, really good wide receiver 3 for your fantasy football team and have a similar career arc as a Mohamed Sanu. And I know that's not sexy. People want me to say somebody much better than that, but you have to be realistic with some of these comps. If your 7th best receiver in the class ends up being Mohamed Sanu, it's a pretty dang good class. So I think that's roughly where I'm at with him.
I mean, not even 1,000-yard season. He didn't hit 850 yards in any of his 4 seasons. To me, that's like, it's 850 yards, man. Like, how can we get that excited about a guy that couldn't get 850 yards in the season? 1 out of 4 times.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't look too much into the raw stats sometimes because it could just be a product of the system, could be a product of the situation. I know you don't like the market share stuff, but he does he did command a large market share of their offense throughout his 4 years at South Carolina. So I think it does say something.
Yeah, no, I get it. So I guess just overall, like you're higher on him than I am, Garrett. I don't see him being a wide receiver 3 consistently. I think if anything, he flashes in there maybe a couple times. I mean, I think he'll be, if he could be the 3rd best receiver on a team, but he starts on the outside, I think he'd be pretty good in that role. You have a pretty good slot guy, you have your superstar, and then you have Edwards. I don't think he's ever going to be the Michael Gallup to a Cooper or the Ridley to a Julio, but I think he could be another supporting guy that's he's good for your team. He'll block, he'll do all those other things.
Yeah, he's a solid player.
Would you like this? Tell me if you would like this. Let's say you're the Minnesota Vikings. You take Jalen Reagor in the 1st round, and then in the 3rd round you come Bryan Edwards, and now you have Thielen, Reagor, Edwards. Would that type of thing be something that would make you a little more interested in him?
Not interested in fantasy, but I think that's a great NFL fit because fantasy-wise, I don't see him getting the targets there, right? I mean, Diggs didn't get him there, and he was number 2, and he's good. Then you have Reagor.
Well, I don't know how much longer Thielen will be there, but
didn't he just sign an extension like 2 years ago?
2 years ago, yeah, but he's pretty banged up, and I think it was only a 4-year extension, so we're looking at probably 2 more years. So when he should be blossoming in his 3rd season, that would be that Thielen would probably be out of there.
That's fair.
Okay, well, let's get into the utility knife of Laviska Shenault. The utility knife? No, I said that wrong. What word was I going
Swiss
for?
Army knife?
Swiss Army knife.
Swiss
yes,
Army knife?
The utility knife.
Some type of knife. He cuts.
Yeah.
Well, first off, if people don't know his story about his hair, that's a pretty interesting story too. Pretty sad.
Yeah. You want?
I actually don't know that story.
Yeah. So when he was, I can't remember how young he was, Jared. If you remember this offhand,
I think it was
10. Like 12. Yeah, 10 to 12.
Yeah.
They got a flat tire, and his dad got out to change the flat tire, and he just got hit and killed. And so, yeah, this is just a way for him to kind of remember his dad, which I think is growing up without him. Just makes you want to root for a guy a little bit more. And that's the other thing too, that I know we're so critical of players, and I think people think like we're hating. I want all these guys to succeed. I want Bryan Edwards to succeed. I want David Montgomery to succeed, whoever, because this is their job. Mm-hmm. This is their livelihood. We're just here trying to give you the best fantasy advice, but I want all these guys to succeed because of their life and their people. Their life is more important than our fantasy.
Yeah, and this is life-changing money too. Like that affects not just them, but their entire families. But yeah, so Laviska Shenault, he has an injury history that's causing a lot of pause to a lot of people, rightfully so. He had surgery on a torn labrum and surgery on a turf toe in 2018, going into 2019, and then he just missed the combine because of pubic bone, whatever that is. He needed surgery on that too. So definitely some red flags there with being injured a lot, missing games. But from what I've read from sports doctors and stuff, is that it's really nothing to be worried about for, anything to worry about down the road that's going to affect him. I think these injuries were kind of all one-off freak type things. So I'm not too sure we should be worried about it. But I do know that a lot of people are looking at that as red flags.
Yeah, this is a guy I think that's going to have a wide range of outcomes potentially. As far as being a good athlete and just a good football player, that's what he's best at. But there's a lot of room to grow technically as a player, and then you have the injury history. So, he could end up being one of the better receivers in this class. He could end up, being injured and not getting to play anymore. So there's a wide range of outcomes for this kid.
Well, I mean, I think if you want to think of a player where there's some like uncertainty there, the good end of it would be Demaryius Thomas coming from what's he going to develop out of this run-based offense in Georgia Tech. He's a good athlete, not really great as a route runner. What's it going to happen for him? Someone said Patterson. I think you could say Demaryius Thomas because I think Viska's a better wide receiver right now than Patterson ever was at Tennessee.
Yeah, I think a lot of people
huge downside. too.
Compare him to Cordero because of all the different positions, and they run him on jet sweeps and stuff all the time. Line him up at running back, all that kind of stuff.
I just think that speaks to how good he is.
Yeah, he's a hell of an athlete. You just see the fluidity.
I mean, he plays at Colorado, everybody.
He's got Steven Montez throwing him the football.
I mean, I know Lindsey was there for you. I mean, it's Colorado. You know what I mean? Of course. Oh, he's good. Put him at running back. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have great players, you know?
That is true. You don't have any.
So let's remove the injury concerns while we're talking about this for the rest of the time, because we know those are there. As an actual player, what are we seeing?
So, like right here, if you go back and you look at this release off the line of scrimmage, he doesn't use his feet.
No, yeah.
At all.
He's frozen in sand.
Just uses his hands, and he gets hit. Can't get off the line, and it's not a touchdown. Now, if he uses his feet and he stems inside, just like Edwards did, he'd already have the separation. He would have had a touchdown here. That's
Right.
the difference right now, that he doesn't have those little things.
Yeah.
Silver Sports said, but South Carolina employed the football version of Henry Rowan-Gardner after he broke his arm a second time at quarterback. What an example!
Look at the balance to be able to keep his feet here. That's a tough play, getting hit that quickly after catching the football, and that's the raw athleticism that you're going to get with Shenault. Is, you know what, he might not do it technically right, but he figures out a way often to make plays.
Mm-hmm.
And people say, you know, they comp Patterson just his athleticism. I think Patterson's way more athletic than him. I think if you comp him to early career, and again, we always think of late career when we think of players. Think of early career Brandon Marshall when he came out. That's pretty similar.
I don't hate that.
Me.
I don't hate
Physical.
that. Oh, look at that.
He caught that.
Yeah, he did. That was a hell of a catch.
Because the corner actually had the position on him.
Yes.
He shouldn't have made that play, which tells you he didn't probably sell the route very well.
Nope.
But he figured out a way to make a play.
Yeah, let's run it
And at the
back.
end of the day, you got to give him credit.
Yeah,
for
I mean,
that.
he just does nothing off the line. Like, he doesn't.
No. It's like high school for him. He's just out athleting people right now.
Now, does that concern? You know, I always go to Nick on this because I see his face. I have the icon. It's just the Jared icon, so I can't even see him. So I always just go to Nick because I can see him. Jared, do you think like at the next level, is that something that worries you? Is he going to be athlete enough? Is he going to be football player enough to make up for that, or will he be able to learn some of those things at the next level that you think you're not concerned about some of these technical deficiencies?
No, I think he's definitely going to have to develop some sort of these technical skills. And a lot of people say how raw he is, and he is raw, but he definitely has the skills to work with as far as athleticism goes. I'm trying to find the play. Yeah, this play. He came off the line pretty quick here. He does show good burst.
I don't think his level of athleticism is ever the issue. I think it's using his athleticism in a way that makes him the most efficient player is the concern.
And
I mean, there he got inside, he stacked him. I mean, that's not a bad route right there.
yeah, I forget what exactly it was, but I know that throughout 2018 he was pretty banged up. Through 2019 he was playing through injuries, so not sure that we've seen him at a full 100% the last 2 years.
Look at Montez fall down here. Go back.
Is it
That's
this
the
one?
next play.
You got it to him though.
I just tosses it.
Touchdown. I've been there.
Someone just said he's a modern day Green Lantern. Do you know who that is, Garrett? Oh, you're looking.
Huh?
This is modern day
Green Lantern, like the superhero, or is this a nickname of a player that I have no idea who it is?
Wayne Corbett. Do you guys remember Wayne Corbett? Didn't they call him the Green Lantern? Who is it?
I don't
I have
know.
no idea. I don't know who that
Parcells
is.
named him that.
He's
I
a
have no idea who that
superhero, right?
is.
I know that, but there's like a little thing. He's
All
like,
right.
not a star. He's like a
Carlos
lantern.
said these are two different players. Is he a better player than Jalen Samuels or Debo?
Those are two unique options. Jalen Samuels, I get why you put him in there because the kind of the Swiss Army knife type thing. In a different way, he was more. Is he a tight end? Is he an H-back? Is he a running back? Debo has some of the after the catch ability that you see with Viska, because he does kind of turn into, and Debo does this a little bit too, where they kind of turn into running backs in the open field. And so that's something that you like to see out of those guys. Ooh, that's a tough drop.
Used his hands well here off the line.
Yeah.
Man.
Used his
catch
hands
that.
really well.
So yeah, I'm not sure I would comp him to either one of those players, but I understand why you gave both of those options because of the utility and the yards after the catch. So I do think that's in his game, but I don't know if I would say he's like either one of those guys. Oof.
Yeah, you got to come down with that one.
Shouldn't have had the popcorn.
Oh, he moved his feet off the line here, Nick.
I know.
I'd like to see him.
I mean, at least
use his
he
hands more and
stemmed
get
outside a little bit.
Yeah, he allowed the corner to get his hands on him here. He's got to rip through.
Yep. I mean, half of the battle is just making the corner think it's a two-way go, and what that means is thinking that you can go either way, left or right at them.
Yeah.
And when you only go one way, they get their hands on you automatically. So one step this way, even if he doesn't move and open that way, at least makes him think that.
Okay, that was a quick one. Decent game. Obviously, is raw. All right, what's this next game here?
Who do you got on this one?
We have USC.
Oh, USC. I think we watched Pittman against Colorado. So it's...
Yeah,
Bad throw.
probably grabbed them both.
Yep.
I don't like that he gathered himself before he made this cut out. If you watch him, why doesn't he just run out? He gathers himself and then comes
It's
out
real
to
choppy.
lace it.
Yeah, he's standing straight up.
It's a terrible throw, Montez.
It's not good.
No, he's not very good.
Ooh, look at that run. Run through this arm tackle. Here you go, boy.
Oh, see the ref.
Oh, man. Josh Cribbs 2.0.
That ain't bad.
No, don't
Not
hate it
good
that
for
much.
fantasy.
Josh Cribbs is good, man.
Hell yeah, he was.
I love Cribs.
Oh, yeah, you Cleveland boys, you know Josh Cribbs.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we're well aware. Of Cribs.
Him and Edelman, both Kent State quarterbacks.
let me throw you. I don't know if I did this on this show. I remember I said it recently. An old school Cleveland quarterback that for like one game I watched and I had so much respect for him. Kelly Holcomb. Remember him?
Oh yeah, man.
Was it against Pittsburgh? Is
yes,
that the game?
remember that comeback?
Yep.
And he was like
Yep.
beat up. He had like
Dude,
Kevin
Kelly was-
Johnson.
He got
Quincy
himself a job with
Morgan.
Buffalo for a little bit after that. Yep.
Where are those receivers, man? William Green.
William Green. He got stabbed in the
Ben
back
Gay was
by
right
his
around that time
girlfriend.
too.
Not a bad.
Lee Suggs.
Doesn't really. See, when he makes this break, you'd like to see him pump back
Come
Pump his
Ted.
arms
He's
and get-
bad. Look at him avoid.
and run out of that break. He just kind of stops.
I mean, he sold it to the inside to gain himself a little separation, though.
Yeah, I just like
Like
to
watch
see
him
toe
him.
tap on the
inside there. Watch him
sideline.
come inside, then he
Run out
stops
of
and
it.
comes back out.
Okay.
Then he let up, yeah.
Yeah.
I like to see him getting 2 feet in there too. I know that doesn't matter for college, but it does for the next level.
Sometimes I'm so baffled that receivers can do that on the sidelines. Like,
Isn't the
Yeah,
XFL
they're
1
just-
foot?
they're just so good. Like, I mean, how do they have the body control to do that and catch the ball and come down with it? And
Yeah, it's crazy.
that's a terrible route. No one thought he was going inside on that route.
Oh, he got that.
Yep.
Let's watch that again.
Go back to the route, though.
Yeah.
Because the corner is not believing any of that at all.
Nope.
No.
Run inside more.
Let's watch it again.
And that's one of the problems that actually, it's interesting. I had about Sanu coming out. Or actually, no, it wasn't Sanu. Who's the other Rutgers receiver that came after Sanu? Oh, that's painful. Do you guys not remember who it was?
Rutgers after Sanu.
Can't think of it. But anyways, there's something with
I can
running.
picture him, but I can't.
There's something about running your routes as quickly as you can. And there's running your routes with a purpose. And right there, he made a move inside and had no purpose to it. You know what I mean? It's just wasted movement. You have to have purpose with all of the things that you do on the football field, and just running fast. You have to. That's why Diggs isn't the fastest guy ever, but he uses his speeds so well. Judy uses his speeds so well. That's what's important. Attacking the frame of the corner inside, using their technique against them. All that stuff is the most important thing. It's not your 40 time.
Kenny Britt was Rutgers.
Yeah, he's after him.
He was before him. Leonte Carew.
Leonte Carew, thank you. That's who it was. I was just looking it up.
I would not have got that.
Yeah, Leonte Carew just ran his routes as hard as he could all the time, and I liked him a little bit, but you have to vary your speeds and have a purpose.
Yeah, I thought Edwards did a good job of that.
I always say
Justin
that
Jefferson does a good job of that too.
You're like an actor. You're selling a role, a route. Same thing.
So here's something that we mentioned with Edwards, that he was able to shield the defender from the ball. And granted, that's a bad throw. It's behind him, but I would have liked to have seen him kind of box out a little bit more on that. Make sure that that's his ball.
Well, like there, if you go back from the start, so he starts. This corner's inside shade, right?
Yeah,
and he just runs towards him. If he stays straight, the corner might fade towards him, and then he comes inside. Yeah, those little things make feet and inches and receptions happen.
I mean, how interested can you be playing at Colorado?
I mean, you're playing against USC, man.
I know, just you can't get an accurate ball thrown your way. You're out here busting your ass. Just it's got to be frustrating.
Yeah, they won a national title in '91, didn't they, man?
That's true.
I don't know. I was two.
Forgot about that.
You're back. Oh, my girlfriend wasn't even born yet.
Let me see this release here. Did we see something?
So will he ever be able to profile as an X receiver? Is he going to have to run more out of the slot?
Yes.
Is he going to be used as solely a gadget player that just kind of lines up everywhere but doesn't ever really have a true home? What are we expecting this to translate to? Because where he lines up on a regular basis does impact his fantasy production.
For me, it's just going to depend on how much he evolves. He's going to have to put the work in. If he doesn't put the work in, he's a slot. If he puts the work in, he could do anything.
Okay.
What I'm seeing right now is not somebody that you're going to line up at wide receiver and call him your number one. He's going to take some time to take some development.
Honestly, N'Keal Harry isn't a bad comp. N'Keal Harry was a bad route runner. N'Keal Harry could win more.
He was more efficient than
he was. But I'm just saying, in that realm, there's a lot of work that has to be done. And you saw what happened last year with N'Keal. I know people say he's hurt. He still played half the season and got 100 yards receiving.
Yeah, I see him actually as more of a slot receiver, too. Just lining him up there, you're able to do more with him, too.
Reverse.
Well, and you're able to utilize some more of his yards after the catch ability.
Right there. Fakes inside, outside, then inside.
I think I have Shenault 11? I can't remember.
I'm pretty low on him as well. you have some people that really love him that have him, just outside of, Judy and Lamb. But I think overall the temperature on him has cooled quite a bit since the start of the season.
Yeah,
I don't have all my wide receiver rankings done yet, but yeah, he's fallen for me.
in Ray's league, I actually have Edwards and Shenault. I had him from Devi.
Do you?
Yeah. Not super happy with those, but
early in this offseason, I moved Shenault and Noah Fant for CeeDee Lamb, and I'm pretty pumped about it.
wow.
Yeah, I would be.
I'd be ecstatic.
Absolutely.
See, there you go.
And that's what he does best.
Get him the ball in space. Let him play with it.
I mean, for his size, he's a special athlete.
For sure.
For sure.
Maybe not special, but he's a great athlete.
Yeah,
The problem is people watch a highlight tape and they'll watch this and be like, oh, that's what he can do all the time. He doesn't do that all the time.
right. Don't watch highlight tapes. Unless you're in this 45 round Devi draft and that's all you really have are high school highlights.
Right. Did you see Kyle Yates put a tweet out about that? And then I did the day before, stop watching highlights.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, really?
It's funny. Yeah.
That's funny.
I mean, it gives you an idea of what they can do in the best of best. You have to know what they do on the normal and the low, too.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with pulling it up on YouTube if you got 5 minutes real quick. All right, let me see what this guy looks like. Let me see what kind of athlete he is. But if you really want to evaluate him, you have to.
A lot of times anymore, I actually used to really enjoy watching highlight tapes. Anymore, I actually have almost completely stopped watching highlight tapes altogether, because what it does, at least for me in my evaluation process, is those plays stick in my mind, and I start to judge him more on those plays than I do the tape I'm literally watching at the moment. And so I've actually altogether almost stopped watching highlight tapes, with a few exceptions, just because I know with my process, I allow some of that stuff in more than I allow what I normally see.
Dude, see, I would have.
So,
if I'm Colorado and I can't throw him an accurate pass, dude, I'm doing this all day.
Right. So, I mean, you want to go back to the first one on the other sideline. He hesitated and then went upfield to gain more yards. So, yeah, this player here. Just he said, I mean, it's 4th and 2. This is 4th and 2. Cuts inside, then outside, then waits, and then goes forward and gets another 5 yards. That's not normal,
right,
for a receiver. And that's what you get. That's the benefit of getting him. And then you'll see it in this other one too. My favorite on this next one, he goes to the left. He hesitates, stops, and then cuts back inside. A lot of guys will just, that's a good enough gain.
Go out of bounds.
Right, so watch here. Yep. Goes outside. Go out of bounds right here. Nope, cuts inside and gets another, 5 yards.
Yeah,
to me, that's what made Percy Harvin special versus just a good athlete. This is attitude and vision and knowing how to win, not just out athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight, that's not the issue. Montez sets up a screen. We're still in the third quarter.
Yeah. Overall, the Pac defenses weren't, they weren't Big Ten, they weren't SEC defenses, but it's also not like he's playing, in the MAC or something like that. And there's some talented players out there, and I think there's enough where if he falls far enough and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I'm at 2.4, I'm at 2.5, I'm just gonna take the ceiling guy. And I think that's kind of where it is, where I saw enough against good teams what could be, but the thing is, I'm not counting on him outside of 3 years down the road. I don't know that he's going to be able to produce day one unless the team's willing to commit to him being that, we're going to utilize him all over the field. He's going to be a weapon for us more than developing as a receiver. But if that's the case, that actually worries me for his long-term potential, as opposed to if they going to be a receiver.
I mean, did you see his technique on that bike? Just subpar. Look at that. I mean, come on. Put some effort into it. Lean. You're not being efficient. No, I agree with you. He's a floor ceiling guy. That's what he is. And there's a chance, Garrett, after 3 years in the NFL, he's not even in the NFL anymore.
It
That's
could
a
happen.
possibility too.
I'd hate to see it, but you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not taking this guy unless it's late second.
I mean, he'll be a round 2, round 3,
Yeah.
round 4 guy.
2-8, 3.
I'm saying the NFL
4,
draft.
3-2. Oh, okay.
Like he'll be round 2 through 4. That's not
Yeah,
guaranteed.
and I remember preseason they were talking about him as, he could go top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell you what, this running back ain't bad though. Little number 8 here. He does some nice things. Who is this guy?
I don't know. I haven't scouted him.
Yeah. I just see him shedding tackles and making nice gains.
Too busy on the graduates, man. I haven't got to the Dev report yet. Sorry, everybody.
It's not like you have a lot going on in your personal life.
For nothing.
Yeah,
You didn't just move or anything.
Yeah, no kidding. I should post about that. I'm so pumped about my new place. Look at that. He's just a good athlete.
Well, that's that. See you guys. I'm just kidding.
You got to poop again?
So here you go, Garrett. Who do you rank higher between those two?
I have Edwards higher by about 2 or 3 spots here. Actually, I'll pull it up right now so I can tell you exactly. J-Back, where do you have him?
I'm gonna pull up my rankings.
So these are our tape scores from that we're going to be talking about. And Jared, I talked a lot about tape scores today in the Dynasty Nerds when we were breaking down the running backs. I kind of talked more about where we have them. So right now I have
1, 2, 3.
You guys should plug that
all right,
too,
so
by the way.
Edwards, I have 9. It's a little lower than I thought. I have Edwards at 9. And I have Visk at 14. So yeah, I actually might not even be. That feels a little low. I probably need to go through and look at all the numbers again.
Who
But
do
I
you have
really,
ahead of him?
I
Who's-
really
who's-
dinged him a lot for like some of his route running and stuff. Like I have Gandy Golden ahead of him. I have, let's see, I have Hamler ahead of him, which I don't like, but it just kind of how it all came out. I tried to be true to what I saw in each thing.
Mhm.
I didn't love his catch radius. I don't know.
So part of it for me is this. So like, we're always looking at the positives and negatives of players,
Mm-hmm.
No player is perfect, and I think sometimes we can really highlight on the negatives so much. A good coach is going to see what he can do well and put him in those situations. A bad
Sure.
coach is going to try and fix him everything like Patterson. He's never going to be everything. So really, we don't know. For me, I'm going to take Shenault over Edwards
Okay.
because there's a chance he can be a fantasy asset for me. Edwards, I don't think it's ever really going to be there based on athletic ability, based on after the catch, based on that stuff. I think Edwards is going to be a chain mover. He'll have some splash plays, some splash games, but I don't think he's ever going to be enough for me to get more excited than Shenault could be a wide receiver too.
Yeah, you're going for
if he
ceiling.
develops. So I'll just go for ceiling.
Yeah, I understand that. I probably wouldn't personally ever take Shenault over Edwards in mine, but I'm a little higher on Edwards than you are.
Mario, okay.
I have like Jefferson over him, Michael Pittman over Shenault,
Yep.
Brandon
I can see
Ayuk like right in front of him. I like Gandy Golden too. T. Higgins is up there, so those are just some of the names. But to talk about the nerd score, because we've been putting out those graphics lately.
Mhm.
So the Dynasty Nerds, some of the guys on the team, we take a look at the prospects that are coming in, and we have all these different categories that go into wide receiver, what makes a good wide receiver, what makes a good running back, how do we project them to being good in the NFL and being good fantasy players, and we grade them on a 10-point scale on all those categories, and then it weights into a final score, and then we average that out throughout the team, and then that's the nerd score. So there's a lot more categories that go into those scores than what you just see on those graphics. But that's how we do it, and it's going to be something that we can look back on a few years from now and compare guys. It'll be cool to use.
Yeah, that's something people were asking about. Like, okay, you have, this guy at a 77.4. What was Josh Jacobs at last year? Well, unfortunately, this is our first year of doing it, so we won't, we can't necessarily go backwards. We could tell you roughly where we thought we would have had them, but this is the nice part, is we'll be able to actually give you a numerical value of, okay, this is the highest ranked wide receiver that I've had in the past 3 classes, and we can say that fairly definitively just based on tape. Now, you'll look at these later because they will get posted to the website. They will differ from our rankings. And the reason is this is literally just tape. And I think that's why Visca's is a little bit lower for me than players that I would actually probably take him ahead, like Hamler. Gandy Golden, I'd probably take him ahead of those guys. But on just raw tape, there wasn't enough for me to be able to just saying like, oh yeah, his football IQ is this. Oh yeah, his release is this. Those numbers kind of knocked it down a little bit. So his tape score is going to be a little bit lower than I might actually rank him, if that makes sense.
No, that's fair. I'm glad you guys are doing that.
What do you got going on, Nick? Anything you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
So I was just on the Harris Football Podcast. You guys can check that out. It's on running backs. That's released already.
What website is that again? harrisfootball.com?
I think so. Yeah, it's a Harris Football Podcast. I mean, he's great. He's a off the air. He's a great guy too. I mean, he's been so supportive of me and my life coaching business and wanting to support me with that. And when I released the Graduates in the Dev Report, he's going to retweet that stuff. I mean, he has 130,000 followers, so I'm just really there he is. Yeah, really grateful for that. I mean, actually, this is he actually hooked me up with someone that he knew that was a life coach to help me out and ask questions for that business too.
That's
so
cool.
If you guys can support him and listen to his pod and things like that, he's a really, really good dude too. And that's the best part about this. You guys hear us and see us on Twitter, and most of the people that I ever mess with on Twitter are friends. Garrett and Izzy and they're friends. And that's the best part about this. You get to know people off air, and because we're all people, so.
Is J-Wack not a friend? Just me?
Yeah, he doesn't.
No, I said J-Wack, didn't I?
No.
Wait, I don't think I mess with.
Insinuated.
I don't mess with J-Wack on Twitter, but we text a lot. And I think me and Jared have a more similar personality than me and you, Garrett.
That's probably true.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, there's the podcast. Thanks for bringing that up. Yep.
Yeah, so Edwards over for Shenault for me. I think that's kind of, I guess Nick would take Shenault over Edwards. I think Garrett's on my side with that. But thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time.
Can I say one thing quick before you cut out? So, guys, we one of the things that we struggle with weekly is who we are going to use in the podcast for the next week. So this is just a time, hit us up during the week about who you'd like us to go over the next week, and we're very open to that. So before we close out, whoever we have on air, whoever listens to this later, reach out to one of us, tweet to us, hey, we'd like to see these guys broken down, and we might use them next week.
For sure.
No, that's a good point, because we're creeping up on the NFL draft, and we haven't officially decided, but I know we've tossed around the idea that once we're done with the NFL draft, this might even transition into still looking at college players, but guys that would be more 2021 eligible, so more Devy centric. So what is that?
Oh yeah, we're getting into that for sure.
So
Jordy Brown
during the year too, we can even look at guys that
high school
or in the NFL, just breaking down some of the weekly film.
Little Giants.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and we are out until next week. See ya.